Thanks for listening to 15 Minutes with Fuzz. I'm your host, Fuzz Martin, and on this week's episode, my wife Shanna and I explore a local pumpkin farm. Hey, if you like the show, be sure to subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at 15withfuzz, or visit my website, 15withfuzz.com. It was shorter if I took the minutes portion out of it. And with that, 15 minutes on Basse's country farm here on 15 Minutes with Fuzz. Man, we just got done at the pumpkin farm and boy, is my arm tired.
Should be. You were carrying a medicine ball from the inside to the outside.
I was carrying a giant medicine ball, but we'll get to that coming up. So this weekend, we decided it would be cool to go to, we always go to a pumpkin farm at least once a year somewhere.
Yes.
Kind of switch it around a little bit. When we lived in Dodge County for a few years, we'd go to Waldvogel's. Mm-hmm. And we've been all over the place. We've been to a number of different things. And this week, we went to one that we've never been to before, which is in the southwest corner of Washington County. It might be in Waukesha County. I'm not totally positive where the county line is.
It's on the border.
It's on the border.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Colgate, which straddles the line between Washington and Waukesha counties. And I always get Colgate and Cascade confused, but Colgate's down in the southwest corner and Cascade is in the northeast corner, but it's actually in Sheboygan County.
I appreciate how you're using arm motions right now to like point which direction.
Yeah, just so if you're listening at home,
just start pointing at things.
I pointed to your front right and then to your back left, mm-hmm. Or opposite, depending on which way you're facing. Mm-hmm. So for a while, I wasn't sure how to pronounce it. Is it Basse's, Basses, Basses? And then I called them because I wanted to do an interview with them, but they were too busy. It's Basse's. Like Basse's. Like you're
an Aussie.
Like like a sheep.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So at first, I had not had any clue as to what to expect at this place. I was expecting a wagon with pumpkins on it.
Yeah, there was a short list. We had started collecting ideas like, oh, let's try a new pumpkin farm. And we just started kind of like
we said we were going to go to 2 in one day.
Yes, our goal was to do 2 in one day. And then we pulled into the parking lot.
And then the traffic director waved us into the parking lot, and we drove about a quarter mile down and parked.
Yeah.
And we were in the first row of about 8 rows.
And they had only been open for about 45 minutes.
Yeah. And it was packed. And it was cool. I was very surprised by how large this place was.
And how like efficient we got in.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have all the cool ins and outs of everything's online. You have to pay for it.
Everything's cashless.
Yes.
They take credit, debit, or mobile payments. Mm-hmm. Speaking of that, total side note, I'm going to a work trip soon, mm-hmm. and we're taking clients out. And the client requested, I asked where they wanted to go, and they gave me the name of this restaurant in Louisville called Pat's. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, fine, we can go there. That's cool. How many people are going? And they're like, 12 to 15. Okay. And then he called me back. He's like, oh, just so you know, also, they don't take credit card. But now I called them, and they actually do take credit card. But apparently, up until like 2 years ago, mm-hmm. they did not take credit cards. So I was going to have to ask my CFO to give me a blank check so I could pay for dinner. But anyway, Basse's is cashless. So if you're going, bring a card.
Yep, just note to self.
Yeah.
But when it was very efficient going in, and after seeing a large parking lot full of lots of people, we didn't know what to expect. And surprisingly, even with lots and lots of people there. There was so many things to do, and it's so spread out that it didn't feel like there was so many people there,
No,
which was
it
cool.
didn't.
And just so many things.
Yeah. Another thing too, one, I recommend buying your tickets online because the line is pretty long.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going on a weekend, the line is long. It's not as long if you have prepaid. So we bought them online, downloaded. They're very tech forward. I downloaded them to my Apple Wallet and was able to just show the 4 tickets on my iPhone. And then they give you a wristband and also stamp your hand with invisible ink, which is pretty cool.
Which everyone was excited about.
I was like, hey, did that work? And they're like, yeah, it's invisible. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Nobody's cheating you guys. That's good. Tickets are $16.99 each for anyone 24 months or over during the weekends in October. So I'm 517 months old.
Nice.
So $16.99 for me. You're 481 months old. $16.99 for you. Our 6-year-old, $16.99 during the week, and of course our 17-year-olds as well. During the week, it's $12.99 each, and you get a free pumpkin, I believe.
I think pumpkin's included in the price during the week, but not on the weekend.
Not on the weekend.
It's a little different.
Yeah. So, but when you walk through those gates, and many pumpkin farms are very farm feeling. This doesn't feel not farmy, but it feels very retail and put together well. Like it's very
like there's farm things, but also there's like food trucks, and it's spread out where it's commercial farm, I guess.
It feels more like you're at
like an amusement
park or a county fair than it does that you're at a actual farm. It is a farm.
It is a farm. And there's hay rides.
There's hay rides,
all of those things.
They've got a corn maze. They've got 2 corn mazes.
There's chickens and bunnies.
Yes. They've got a bunny truck and a chicken truck. Yes. There are, there's a haunted house. Well, there's lots of stuff. I mean, but from a farm side of things, yes. But it's also very clean and very spread out for the thousands of people that were there. It didn't feel like it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I appreciated how when we went through the corn maze, there's 2 different corn mazes, and we chose to go through the smaller one because the 6-year-old was with us. And we're like, yeah, we'll see how this goes. And a little passport, and she was, marking off things as we were going. But even though it was kind of a muddy day, the corn maze was clean and picked up and didn't feel there wasn't.
I do recommend wearing shoes if you're going to do the corn maze. Wear shoes that you're not afraid to get dirty, or wear shoes that are kind of grippy in the mud would be good because it's a little bit. It
had rained not too recently, so
and the paths are so clean they don't have corn laying down in them. It's just the path,
right?
So when it rains, and it rained for like 4 or 5 days straight, it was still kind of slick, but it's clean and cool. And they've got fun activities. There's like a whodunit kind of murder mystery, and another one, I forget what it's about, but we did the whodunit one.
Yeah, we did the one that was a little smaller. That was super fun.
It was fun.
And there's so many other things. So like the corn maze, you kind of have to like walk all the way through to get to the corn maze, which is kind of like in the back corner. But then in front of it, there was food trucks in front of it. And there was giant games that you could play. And there's kind of like a cool truck that you could chalk draw on. So we were doing all kinds of fun little chalk drawings inside and outside. There's so many It
was called the chocolate truck or something like that. It was fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like chalk. Like it was a pun.
It was. You don't remember it? Was it chalk?
It was chocolate. It was like the chocolate milk truck.
Okay. Oh, that's what it was, because it was milk truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they had a tractor pull where you literally pull a tractor.
Yeah.
And they have a little VW bug that looks like a pumpkin. And if you're looking to go take like little fall family pictures, probably not like officially photographer pictures, but if you want to go like set your kids up, there is about a billion different places that you can go take cutesy little fall pictures too. I was like, oh, posed by the flowers, posed by the pumpkins, posed by all of these different things. And
they have a giant slide that are like one of those slides where you get a burlap sack and slide down. And our 6-year-old did that, I don't know, a dozen times.
Yeah.
And
there's a beer barn.
There is a beer barn.
And that's pretty cool. That's full of beer. It is beer and lots of snacks. And they had amazing cider donuts.
Yeah, they were really good.
And popcorn. And there's shiplap.
Shiplap everywhere.
All over the place.
They had this corn crib, which is, for the uninitiated, is a thing where you store corn. But they turned it into a 3D maze for the kids. I would be too big for it, but it kind of reminds me of the playhouses at McDonald's where there's like a maze that you crawl up through like tubes and things like that. You take off your shoes, you crawl in through the front, and then you go up and then down, and there's apparently just a maze that you crawl through. And our youngest loved that. And
she spent a lot of time in that.
She spent a lot of time in it. There are a few things that you have to pay extra for if you want to do. I know one of them is the pony rides, which was a point of contention. And the only reason we didn't do it was because to go back to the line to pay, because it's cashless, so you have to have a ticket. So if you want to do that, buy it up front, but you can't buy it online.
You have to buy it when you're checking in.
You have to buy it when you're checking in. But it was, we were able to circumvent that.
There was so many things to do. They're like, we'll just walk to the other side, and then you can't see them anymore.
Exactly.
And it worked out fine.
It did. There's a giant spider web thing, a really tall
There's like tires stacked together with like a little flag, like King of the Mountain kind of thing.
Big John Deere flag up on top. Yeah.
There's like those pillow things you could jump on. They're like inflatable jumpy things that look like pillows because you can slide off the side.
They're like big rubber tarps that they've inflated. So it's like a giant, like really big kind of bounce house, but not a house. It's just like an open air kind of bouncy thing. And it looked like a lot of fun, but we didn't get to go on it because
by the time we got to that point, then the line was really long.
Yeah.
And then there was negotiating.
We negotiated. Now, you can take a hay ride, which is additional fee.
Yes.
To go get a pumpkin in the hay field.
Yes.
Or in the pumpkin field. In the hay wagon. But we said, let's go get one of the out front pumpkins and just pay for that there.
Correct. And it's 47 cents a pound.
47 cents a pound. But our negotiation to get the 6-year-old to be okay with us leaving was, you can pick out
any pumpkin that you want.
Yes. And
so usually the rule, let's backtrack. Usually the rule is you have to get a pumpkin that you can carry.
Right.
If you can't carry the pumpkin, you can't get it. So that way, as you get bigger, you get a bigger pumpkin.
Yes.
Well, we threw that out the window when we were at the point where we had done lots and lots of things, and we all had so much fun, and we didn't want it to like end
with me carrying a screaming child out of the...
Right. Like we needed to end on a positive note because we were having fun, but everyone's getting a little tired. And so... Yes.
We had eaten donuts and kettle corn, but there was no real protein consumed there. So we were getting a little...
We could have. Like there was options.
Yes, there was.
We just chose not to because we also had to get home. So we're like, okay, here's the deal. We're not going to do any more activities. You can pick out any pumpkin you want.
Any pumpkin. And you know what? She did pick out any pumpkin she wanted.
She did. You know what she did? She went through and found a big one. And she was like, nope, I don't want that one. And she found another big one. She's like, nope, I don't want that one either. The rest of us all had our pumpkins at that point.
Yes.
And she was like, no, I want that one.
Yeah.
Well,
that one was a 40-pound pumpkin.
It sure was.
The other 3 pumpkins added up to 36 pounds. Together, this pumpkin, 40 pounds.
And mind you, it was a busy Saturday.
It was.
So the wagons to carry the pumpkins to your car were all being used.
And we were parked all the way down at the end of the first row, which was almost literally a quarter mile from the entrance where we bought the pumpkin.
So if you're plan ahead a little bit when it comes to purchasing pumpkins. And
so I carried it. We had to stop multiple times.
It looked like a medicine ball.
It does, yeah.
I guess he was carrying.
Yeah,
carrying
and
the
she was
pumpkin.
giving me instructions like, be
And
careful not to drop
She
it.
was in all her glory.
Oh yeah.
Like marching down, and because everybody that walked by looked at it, and they're like, "Wow!" She's like, "That's my pumpkin."
Yeah.
Even the crossing
Yep.
person
Stopped
the cars. He's like, "It looks like you guys got some heavy ones," and he stopped the cars so we could travel across the little road through the parking lot.
Yep.
Because you were carrying a 40-pound pumpkin.
Yeah. And finally, I had to set the pumpkin down and then I walked to the car. And
You
drove.
thought like ahead. Like, why at this point, we're set it down and we all kind of like guarded the pumpkin.
Yeah.
And then you went and got the car and brought it up.
And drove the car to
to
but
the
there's not a way for you to, which is some infrastructure that I'm sure they'll work on in the future, hinted, is there's not really a way for you to like go get your pumpkin, you like buy your pumpkins, go drive up to the front and grab them. At least,
and that's why they have the wagons. I think is that if there's enough wagons, you wagon them out to your car.
But even then, like wagoning it, you'd have to wagon it back and then come back. Yeah. It's like pretty soon you've got all of your steps in for the day.
Right.
Bringing your pumpkin back and forth, but
it's really good exercise.
They were nice pumpkins. They are nice pumpkins.
There's a huge selection of pumpkins, and they even have them like sorted. You got like pie pumpkins, you got the white pumpkins, you've got like green pumpkins, you've got squash, and then you've got all the pumpkins lined up everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have the like country market kind of thing that we did not go into, but you can just go to that part where you can pick pumpkins and go buy all kinds of like goodies inside of there too.
Yep, exactly. So that's Basse's Taste of Country, located, it's like 1.5 miles north of Lannon Road in Colgate, and recommend you going. It's cool. If you haven't been there, it's fun. And I will probably end up going back again some other day.
Yes, we will.
All right.
It was a big hit.
Very good. And that'll do it for 15 Minutes with Fuzz. I appreciate you joining us. Again, if you like the show, be sure to subscribe and tell your friends to listen too. And we'll talk to you again next Monday, right here on 15 Minutes with Fuzz.